Hello everybody, welcome to our second topic, major topic of mechanics. We are dealing with resolution and resultant of forces, which is one of the major topics in mechanics that you need to know, because whenever we shall be dealing with areas under this section, we shall have to deal with forces. Now, in simple terms, a force is anything that changes a body's state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line. We all know that a force is measured in newtons as the unit, which we normally symbolize with a capital N. Our common terms used, we deal with what we call the magnitude of a force. And the magnitude of a force, this refers to the size of the force applied, simply the size. When they ask you for magnitude, all they want to know is the size. Then we go ahead and talk about the direction of a force, and this one refers to the angle to which the force acts. It can be either to the vertical. When we talk about angle, we always have a reference. It can be a vertical line, it can be an horizontal line, or sometimes the direction is stated as a bearing. So when you are asked to give a direction of a force, you can state in reference to the vertical line or to a horizontal line. A vertical line, normally you call it the y-axis, and the horizontal is what you normally call the x-axis, or you can simply give your direction in terms of bearing. Now, we want to look at what we have said about direction. We are saying, note, a straight line is used to represent a force. So in most cases, whenever we shall have a force, we shall have a straight line, and it should be drawn using a ruler, and an arrow indicates its direction. Here we are dealing with our force, which we are calling force P, where I'm indicating my R, as you can see, and this is my force P newtons. Now, if this force P is acting at an angle theta degrees, this is my x-axis, which we call the horizontal, and this is my y-axis, which we call the vertical. In terms of bearing, this will be our north, this will be our east. Now, to state we are saying it is of magnitude P newtons. Our magnitude is P, and the direction can be stated in three different ways. We can simply state that it is in the direction theta degrees above the horizontal, and in this case we are dealing with positive horizontal. We are going to see what we call the positive horizontal and negative horizontal. So in this case, we only have the positive horizontal. So you can say it is theta degrees above the positive horizontal, or you can talk about its bearing by simply saying that it is east theta degrees north, because we are moving from the east going to the north. Or you can simply say it is on a bearing, where we all know that bearing is calculated from the north. So we shall calculate this angle, which will be 90 minus theta, and we say on a bearing 90 minus theta degrees. Or you can state the angle as 90 minus theta degrees to the vertical. So those are the three ways of stating the direction. Our third term is the resultant of the force. It is the overall effect. When we talk about resultant of a force, it is the overall effect experienced by the body when a number of forces, in this case we shall have more than one force acting on a particular body. So it is obtained when forces are resolved into what we are going to be calling components in the x and y direction. So whenever we have more than one force, we first have to resolve them into the x and y direction in order to get their resultant. So now we go ahead and talk about what we are going to be calling resolution of force. In our previous video on vectors, we saw how to resolve a vector. The same concept is going to be used here. However, when a force is resolved, remember, force is a vector quantity. It has magnitude and direction. So when a force is resolved, its component, this component's direction should be noted and interpreted as follows. So this, which you normally call as the x and y axis when you are dealing with integers, are going to guide us. If this is our origin here, we say from here going this side, if you have a force pointing this way, that will be a positive force, that is in the x direction. If you have a force pointing this side, it will be a negative force. This will be negative, this will be positive. Similarly, for the y direction, if you have a force pointing up, that will be a positive force. If you have a force pointing down, we shall have that as being negative. So we now cross on to the examples.